Hey everyone, it's Mrs. Detweiler with Henry, who's here to help talk about Oedipus today. I hope you're all doing well. I know things have been crazy. We're doing the best we can, and we're going to keep doing the best we can. So let's just go ahead and do a quick discussion of Oedipus, the first half that you read on Wednesday. So a couple of things I want to point out from the PowerPoint slideshows that you were supposed to read the other day. First of all, the most important thing is that Sophocles did not invent the character of Oedipus. It was not like an original idea that he had. The legend of Oedipus would have been well known in Sophocles' time period. People knew the legend of Oedipus killing his father and, yes, marrying his mother. Very taboo, obviously, even today, which is part of the reason that the play still holds merit and is still considered a classic, because even now, still a taboo concept. But anyway, he did not come up with that legend. The reason Sophocles is so well known for the Oedipus storyline is that he really takes the Oedipus legend and puts like a human face to it. So he gives Oedipus feelings and emotions that we follow in the play. He gives Oedipus a little bit of free choice, which was a novel idea at this time period, which we'll talk about in a second. The other thing to note is that Oedipus and the Greek playwrights really set the stage for modern theater and acting. So before Sophocles, there was this idea that theater was considered a person getting on stage and giving basically a monologue about one of the gods or goddesses. And then during this time period, we get this idea of, hey, instead of someone talking about the gods or goddesses, let's have someone pretend to be a god or goddess. Now, that was a very risky idea at this time period. People were afraid that if the gods or goddesses saw you acting as them, that was not a good thing. So that's where the Greek theater masks came from. People wore masks so that the gods or goddesses wouldn't know who was pretending to be them. It sounds silly to us, but to them, that was a way of protecting themselves from the wrath of the gods. So really, this idea of acting came from this time period, this idea of pretending to be someone else up on stage for entertainment purposes. Okay, also I want to talk about the chorus. Now there's a cat in the background. The chorus acts really as its own character. In this time period, when people were on stage, this would have been like a group of men who were probably like untrained in acting, and they would have taken on the role of the chorus. They would have chanted those words in unison. The chorus is really supposed to kind of act as the audience almost in Greek plays. They almost mimic what the audience should be thinking and feeling. So the good news for you, if you're confused about what's going on, if you read the chorus's lines, they actually kind of tell you what you should be thinking or asking or feeling. So it's a really good way to analyze Oedipus if you read the chorus's lines. They're actually a really important character, therefore. Some things I wanted to talk about in this section too. So in Sophocles' time period, prophecy was starting to become very controversial and kind of doubted. Before this time period, prophecy was everything. So this is the time period of the oracles. You've probably heard of the oracle at Delphi. She was the most important oracle, the most well-known. People in this time period depended on the oracles for everything. They believed fate was kind of sealed. They didn't believe really in free choice. They believed the gods and goddesses dictated everything about your life, and they believed everything was just kind of written in the stars. It was just sealed for you. So the prophecies were really important. They were a way for you to find out what was going to happen. People even used the oracles for decisions in war and on the battlefield. That's how much they believed in the oracles. However, during Sophocles' time period, people start to doubt the power of prophecy. It's an important shift. It's an important shift because people start to think that maybe humans have free choice. And we're definitely going to see that theme carry through Oedipus the King. So when you're reading, really be thinking, is Sophocles trying to promote the idea of prophecy or go against it? Like, what was his goal with Oedipus? We see hints of both here in the beginning. We see Oedipus getting this prophecy that in order to save Thebes from the plague, he has to figure out who murdered King Laius. And of course, we know, dramatic irony, that it was Oedipus, but Oedipus does not know that. So that would be dramatic irony at its finest in Oedipus. We see Oedipus really relying on this prophecy. It really drives the action of the story. But also you could argue that Oedipus is acting out of free choice too. Because even though this prophecy is set, we know that Oedipus is fated for this awful taboo fate, he also is the one who makes the choice to pursue the prophecy. He makes the choice to become obsessed with the prophecy and try to find the murderer, not knowing that it's him. So in some ways, you could also argue that Sophocles gives Oedipus a little bit more free choice than the Greeks would have been used to. But as we go forward, be thinking about that. What is Sophocles saying about prophecy? The play is also a lot about power. We see that at the beginning of the play, Oedipus is very arrogant. He is king of Thebes. Everyone kind of, bow before him. He's very haughty in his opening monologues. He did conquer the Sphinx by solving the riddle, so he thinks he's brilliant. A lot of people think he's brilliant at the beginning. He just believes he is all that. And we're going to see that idea of power as a theme in Oedipus the King, but also in the other play we read by Sophocles, which is Antigone, which follows Oedipus the King. This idea of power and how it corrupts, the idea that even the most powerful can fall, is one of the ideas in this play and in actually the trilogy of plays that we'll be looking at. So that's just like a quick snapshot of some of the important things you should have noted in this first half. I'm not going to keep rambling because hopefully you read it and you kind of know what's going on. As we go forward and we read the rest of the play, some things to be looking for. Think about how the female characters are portrayed in Oedipus, especially in the last half of the play. Obviously, this time period, women did not have rights. Women were not allowed to be in the Greek plays, just like in Shakespeare's time period. I want you to think about what role especially Jocasta plays in the play, and think also about some of the other female characters. I want you to think about the change in Oedipus. What is the major change in him? How does he change from the beginning of the play in that opening monologue to the very last scene of the play? And what is the statement that Sophocles is making with that? And also, I want you to think about his biggest flaw. We talked about his arrogance and his confidence, but what else leads Oedipus down this very bad path? All right, so I hope that helped a little bit. I hope that cleared some things up. If you have questions about what you read, please reach out. Please email me. Please comment on this video, and I will get back to you. And also today, make sure you head over to the Flipgrid discussion. There are going to be some discussion questions that you are going to answer in video format. So, hope you guys are doing well. If you need anything, reach out, and I'll hopefully see you guys soon.